Afternoon. Hello there. So I'm excited. I am going live today with Zana Morris from Strong Nutrition, and we have got some exciting news to talk to you guys about. We also are going to be talking all things strong nutrition, so we will crack on and talk more about this. But also, Xana's going to give us some top tips on how to get Christmas body ready. And I don't know about you, but I'm already failing massively. So let me see if I can find Xana at Strong Nutrition. How do I do this? Why can I never ever remember? Xana, if you can see me. Xana. No, I'm doing Strong Nutrition, that's right. Okay. Goodness. Hopefully she'll see this in a minute and she will accept.
Hello. The joys. The
Oh,
joys.
I am so rubbish at doing these. I don't do enough, but we're going to be doing more
We
because we've got some really exciting
we
news.
are. Yes, exactly. We are. And you're wearing red. Honestly, I should be wearing red.
I've been to the gym this morning. I did not wear this. I'm wearing this for you and our live.
I love it. I love it. Well, for anyone listening, we have in Strong Nutrients, we decided that we're going to take this lovely lady on as our ambassador. Um, if for no other reason than she is a lot of fun. No, but to be very, no, just to be very real, we did have a very real reason for it. And it's because I think I'm not saying this lightly, I think with the amount you do and the way you juggle and you work a really real life, I've known you a little bit and I've seen you in action. You really have a lot going on. You really do. And you manage to do it with a smile. Genuinely, you juggle it, you drive through it, you do your training. And what amuses me is you also do the things I'd say, no, please don't do.
What's that? Alcohol, crisps.
In English, you're a real person. It's brilliant. No, genuinely, Nan, I mean it, because the whole point of Strong Nutrients really is it's to help people in real life, as in we've got real lives going on, and we want to do as much as we can to help people navigate it. And yes, occasionally if I have a client, I'll be saying, no, just don't do it. But I am very aware life happens, we socialize, we want to live it, we want to enjoy it, and the whole point of Strong was just to help people be as strong as they could in every regard for that.
I love that because we have worked together for quite a while now, haven't we? And you know me fairly well in the fact that I do try, but it's definitely a balance with me. I have very good days and then I have appalling days. So yeah,
But
absolutely.
in
It's
fairness, you just live a normal life.
yeah, true. But what I really like about, I was thinking about, I'm so pleased to be working with you guys, as I do know that I take the products, I know they work. I really love Strong Nutrition. I've spoken about it to friends offline as well. So I genuinely really love that. But also I get to work with you as well. So you can keep me on track. I can stay accountable, and if things aren't going to go too wrong in the lead up to Christmas, because we're now going to be chatting more regularly. You're going to help me stay on track and help you guys.
Exactly.
How many have we got following? We've got a few here, which is lovely. So thanks everyone for joining, and we will save this as well. We will try and keep it quite short, but I now need from you what you promised me you give me to share with everyone. Top tips for getting Christmas body ready. I mean, you know, obviously that's all a bit of a, you know, a funny term, like the whole beach body ready and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, we want to feel good in our
Mm.
Christmas outfits. If you got a little black dress that you're going to be pulling out the wardrobe, we want to feel good in that, and
Yes.
just not let everything go to pot, which I can do, and then just wait till January to, you know,
To
to
try and
just, yeah, pull it
fix
back.
it. And it's almost like every year, a friend of mine once said years ago, he said, I keep getting told by friends how they've lost a stone. He said, if they kept losing stones, they wouldn't exist. So yes, every year we lose in January what we just put on before at the Christmas run up. Yes. And funny enough, Christmas, the damage, there's really only about 2-3 days of Christmas.
It's
Where, and honestly,
started already. It started. It's like, what?
but
It's my
that's
birthday on
why.
Friday, and in November the 22nd, like after that, I like think Christmas is starting for me,
Yes.
because obviously, you know, having your birthday in like late November. But it's, you know, it, well, I mean, with the industry that I'm in, loads and loads of Christmas parties are already happening, which is
Yes.
great, and I love them. But it means that, you know, where I might try and be really good Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm already failing because there's a party on a Tuesday night, and, you know, I've
Right.
got no
Let's
restraint.
let's look at this. Let's rein this in then. Okay. And for anyone listening, I haven't actually talked to Alice in a little while, so I'm not actually saying something I've said to her already. I'll be telling her.
No, it's
I'll be telling
genuinely,
her
we're again, I'm learning with everyone. So what can
what,
you do? What can
what
we
can
do?
you do. Okay. For anybody now listening to you, I don't think you have this, but for anyone out there who has a clean run of 7 or 8 days, some people will still have that now, but not for much longer. Then it is worth jumping on to a really strict, tight version of that high fat diet, because you really can lose 2 or even 3 kilos in that time. And particularly if you do it for the 7th to 8th day and get it into that, it's real. The fat comes down, it comes off, your energy's good, it has a stabilizing impact.
What's happening with
Oh,
you? You got
hang on.
fireworks coming up behind you. Oh, now I've lost the sound. Where's your sound gone?
There
Something
we go.
bizarre happened.
I
Oh,
I'm back. It did some weird reaction there. Clearly, this Instagram has got a new mode for anyone listening and watching, which I didn't know about.
maybe
But I won't move my hands too much.
maybe you're not allowed to say the FAT word.
Or maybe you're not.
Should have
Aha.
been a,
Anyway,
mm,
but you're allowed to say the weight word. And that's ridiculous
let's
because we're
test
not
it.
looking for weight loss. We're looking for, wait till we find out, does this happen again? We're looking for fat loss. Nope, I can say it. I think. Right. I'm smiling as I talk. But so anyone who has an 8-day run, it's well worth considering in that 8 days just doing something tight like that, because you really can. I hate the expression because it's so cliched, but when you say drop the dress size, you can. Everything can just pull in very nicely.
Yeah. So
And
I've never done your fat one, but I have done the other high protein,
yes,
low fat, low
yeah.
sugar, and I love
And
that
for
one.
anyone listening, there's a reason we never gave Alice the high fat one. She doesn't get 8 days in a row. But in fairness to you, and I really mean this, I say that genuinely tongue in cheek, it was in part that, but it was also, there's a low fat, high protein direction that you can go into. And the beauty of that is, and that navigates real life better,
It does.
because the high fat's a bit tight and difficult if you're used to it. And a lot of people out there will have heard of it and will have done it. If you haven't, there is the book, The High Fat Diet, which actually just goes through the whole lot. But we went with you low fat, high protein, for a few reasons. You did a lot of training, you were doing a lot of work, there was a lot going on, and you were juggling with partners and the likes, that you didn't want to go too extreme because the
Yeah.
high fat's very
That
restrictive.
was last May, wasn't it, for around Nick's
Yeah.
birthday, and I did it. Well, it was supposed to be 12 days. Um, then we had Nick's birthday in the middle of it. But when I did it, I
Oh.
lost like 9 pounds. It was amazing. It was
And
amazing. But
how long did you lose the 9 pounds? How long did that take?
I mean, I think it was over like about a 3-4
Yeah.
week period, because I was also doing 10K steps a day, doing the gym, and then really focusing on that, because I'd gone over where I wanted to be and felt comfortable,
Yeah.
and I was like, right, I've got to do something about this. But how can people find out more about the high
So
fat diet then?
the high fat diet you can jump onto. There is literally the high fat diet is exactly what it's called. There's a book. Myself and
Your book, you've done one, haven't you?
I've done one. Yeah.
Get Xana's.
The high fat diet, yes. And alternatively, I mean, when you go online, there are kind of different bits of information on that. Generally, if you want to do it, so I'm stepping sideways now just because we don't have time to go through all of the details on that diet, but that's the best way to find that diet. Generally, though, if people are looking to lose, if you just start with reducing the carbohydrates down and the sugars down, so the breads, rice, pasta, obvious junk foods down, and increase the protein, that's going to make a big difference. Now, the really interesting thing about the plan we had you on, which I really liked, you mentioned 9 pounds weight loss. Most low calorie diets, we won't go into this too much because this is about quick hacks for getting ready for Christmas, but it is something to bear in mind. Most low calorie diets, up to 90% of what you lose is muscle. So if you lost 9 pounds, you could have lost 7.5, nearly 8 pounds of muscle in that 9 pounds. The beauty of a high protein, low fat direction is you won't have lost muscle.
No.
You will really tone up, you really firm up. So what you lose is fat only. Now that changes the body shape dramatically. And at the end of the day, when we're looking to get into the party dresses, for want of a better way of describing this, nobody cares what you weigh. You care about what your shape is, the inches and the inch loss.
Absolutely.
So if you reduce carbohydrates and increase the protein, you're going to be moving in that right direction. Any weight around the middle is the body releasing a little bit too much insulin. When you reduce the carbohydrates down, the insulin levels steady, so you start to lose there. If you up the protein, you're going to feel fuller, you're going to firm up, it's going to help change your shape. And what we did with you was we just kept an eye on the fat intake too. So we actually reduced the fat down. So now you're organically reducing calories as well, but you should never feel hungry.
No,
you should never.
It was amazing. It was amazing, and I do try, like, you know, when I'm being good, to kind of do always do high protein. I'm mindful about fat, and I'm be careful about sugars as well. Just generally, but then obviously other days.
It's yes. Well, the truth is you do what you can. You do what you can. So let me run through 5 little ways of doing this for people listening. If you're going to get in shape for Christmas. So first is, if you want to go, let's look at the nutrition. So first is, if the weight's in the middle, get the sugars and the carbohydrates down or out completely. Bring up the protein intake. So fish, meat, cheese, eggs, protein shakes. The casein protein is really useful there. The strong casein, that does come in very handy there. Yes,
and
up that.
What I found earlier.
Yes, here's what I made earlier.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant to say. I failed it. So yes, so I've got one up on the shelf there, which Lou has just sent through to me. But this is the one that I've been using, and it's the vanilla protein shake, and it tastes lovely.
It's the advantage of getting, and I'm going to tell you in a moment, best way to do this. But the advantage of getting that protein intake up, and particularly that casein protein, and this goes for cottage cheese and other kind of dairy proteins, they keep you fuller for longer. They sustain you. This is not about being hungry. It's not about torturing yourself. If you can get enough kind of protein, and I don't mean masses, but if you can get enough protein in, you'll feel fuller for longer. You won't crave. Your blood sugar levels will be a bit steadier. So reduce the carbs, up the protein, in particular in the evening. So increase the evening protein. So don't take loads for breakfast, because protein breaks down into amino acids, which are all the building blocks of you. So great for hair, great for skin, great for nails, great for muscle tone. But it also breaks down into sugar, a little bit of sugar. So you can get a little bit of an insulin rise. If you have a lot of protein in the morning, you might find, I don't know if you've ever found, if you have a big breakfast, you can be sleepy afterwards.
Absolutely.
That's your insulin has gone up.
Yeah, definitely. However, with the protein in the morning, you've always said to me, like, I have like boiled eggs, my first meal, always my first thing that touches my lips is protein.
Yes.
because otherwise, if which I was doing before was like having a banana or a fruit salad, and then that was spiking my insulin, and then for the rest of the morning I'd be starving. Whereas a little bit of protein or the protein shake in your
Exactly.
coffee, that was one of my best tips that you ever gave me 2 3 years ago, and I stick by that. I always do that.
That really works.
Mm.
So a breakfast, not a tiny breakfast, but exactly that. Avoid the carbs, particularly in the morning. If your insulin goes up for the day, it's up. It's up. You're going to be hungry and craving all day. So you want to get that breakfast right, because that neatly leads me on to, that was going to be my next point, and you've neatly stepped from it. So get the protein up in the evening, and then for that breakfast, keep it to like the equivalent of 2 eggs. You know, so it's not tiny, but not huge, not unlimited. Or the protein shake, and if you've got the protein shake, you probably go about 1/2 to 3/4 of a scoop, but not really more than that. And you can mix it on anything you like, from yogurt to nut milk.
Put it in yogurt, which is like double protein. I could just mix it into a coffee.
Yeah.
No, it's so easy.
That would work. And that keeps you lovely and steady and helps keep your insulin then steady for the day. When you get the extra protein in the evening, it keeps you fuller for longer. So anybody out there looking at doing intermittent fasting, it makes it so much easier. So much easier. It sustains you, keeps your blood sugar levels kind of steady, and you don't crave. So you're getting the carbohydrates down, you're getting the protein up, particularly in the evening. Your breakfast in the morning is going to be protein, or protein with a little bit of fat. So you could have a little bit of avocado with those eggs if you want. If you do yogurt, try not to go, if you go 0% Greek, for example, get some nuts in there. So you have the protein with a little bit of fat, can work very well.
Yeah, I normally do 5% on 5% fat with my yogurts generally.
I like the kind of medium fat ones, the 3 to 5%. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I think that works very well. So that's it on the food. Now there's 2 rules I tend to give clients, well, one in particular. Now this is a rule. Don't snack, don't graze, particularly at this time of year. Particularly, it's complete waste of calories. It won't do anything for you. It'll rob you of energy, because you won't be eating enough to lift your energy really. But you'll set your whole digestive system into action. You'll jump up your insulin. It's like a little insulin shot, which you really don't want or need. So gaps between meals. If you're hungry, eat, but think protein, think putting it on a plate.
Have your meal earlier, basically.
Well, you can have so some people eat twice a day. Some people eat 3 times a day. Occasionally I have clients that eat 4 times a day. Now, I'm not too concerned about how often. My preference, I have to say, for anyone out there looking to get into shape, I often find for most, not for everyone, for most, 2 meals works the absolute best, where they've kind of a brunch kind of breakfast and then an evening meal. But that doesn't work for everyone.
No.
And if you've got long days at work and all the rest, that won't work. You'll need to eat something at maybe kind of the equivalent of lunchtime, or 3 or 4 o'clock, like the protein shake.
If I'm fasting, because I still fast as well, but again, if intermittent fasting intermittently through the week, like today, I haven't had my breakfast or lunch, and I'm going to go straight into lunch, and I've got some eggs and some chicken soup. It sounds disgusting, doesn't it? But I'm going to put it on. Eggs on the Ryvita with a tiny bit, with a half a thing of chicken soup. And that's just like double protein.
Yeah.
I've waited all day. I have had so I have been fasting. I have been having black coffee prior to this, but then I just was like, I really fancy having a little bit of oat milk in my coffee now, because,
And have you got protein in? Did you put the protein shake in the coffee?
No, this is just oat milk, actually. I haven't done, because I was going to, as soon as I come off this, I'm going to eat. So I just thought,
there you go.
Exactly.
But it's an interesting one, because I mean, there's absolutely no reason not to put the protein in the coffee, and it would give it a really nice flavour.
No, I do quite often. But weirdly today I didn't. But I think I've been running on energy, because I get a bit nervous about doing lives, and like, I mean, it's fine once I'm on, but the whole idea of it, and then I always get a slump once I've eaten. So I just was like, keep that energy high until after, and then
Well, we may have to have a look at that one too, but that'll be another conversation. How to not to get the slump after you've eaten. So we'll have a conversation about that, actually. But back to these hacks. So carbs down, protein up, particularly in the evening, and definitely no carbs for the first meal. that'll make a difference, and mind the gap between the meals.
Yes.
Supplements, I'll run supplements and training. So there's 3 on the nutrition. Supplements. Anybody who knows Strong Neutrals will know of the Amino Slim, which is a really interesting little one. That's the one. Yes, there you have it. I love it. It's all back to front. But that's Amino Slim. That's the one. It's brilliant. It's the one that seems to help that whole balance when you go to sleep and when you do high intensity training, which we're going to touch upon very briefly. There's a natural reset, if you like, of hormones, natural reduction in blood sugar levels, reduction in insulin. Your body naturally releases hormones like growth hormone that pushes the protein back into everything. It's why it helps our bone density, even, believe it or not. This is where sleep comes into play. As a child, I was always taught you grow when you sleep. And actually, that is true. Your body repairs when we sleep. The L-ornithine, which is the main ingredient of this Amino Slim, helps this process along, which in English means blood sugar levels drop, insulin levels drop, you lose belly fat. And the lovely thing about this, whether you take it before you go to bed or before you're training, it just seems to get in behind that cycle, if you like. A lot of people take it without going on any diet, changing anything with the nutrition. Now, obviously, me speaking as a nutritionist, I'm going to encourage everyone to look at the nutrition. But I know a lot of people that just use it and they will notice a difference, particularly around the belly, particularly around the tummy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some people have already got to their goal weight, haven't they? I mean, I'm always fluctuating. I kind of going up and going down. And I take these. I did a spin class this morning and I took about 4 with my black coffee this morning and then went and did a spin class. This is a brand new pot, but I've got others and the other, yeah, exactly. So they're really great. I don't always remember to take them, and I do take them generally before I'm training.
Yes.
Or, yeah.
So for anyone who's looking at taking those, the absolute best results, in my experience with them, is taking them every night before bed for kind of a
always tell me this.
like, yeah, 4 to 6, 8 weeks. Some people take for 12 weeks, depending on how much weight you have to lose or feel you have to lose. Now, some people don't take them for fat loss at all. I know people who take them for sleep because they can actually help sleep, believe it or not. There's nice research to show it can actually help you sleep better. But for those taking for the fat loss, it seems to work best at night, seems to work best as a cycle. They're a fussy little supplement. You do have to stop eating 2.5 hours before you take it to get the best results. But if you're similar as in Alice here, and the night can be tricky because if you're working late or you're out, it can be tricky. If it's only occasional, then I'd say take them at night. And then those nights, if you wake up during the night, take it then, or take it first thing in the morning and have a late breakfast. But if you've kind of got one of those lifestyles where it's just going to be too tricky to get, because there's a fasting gap, you do need to stop eating 2.5 hours before you take the supplement for it to work. And that's where it can get tricky. So if you go to bed, say at midnight, you do need to stop eating around 9:30. That would mean food and drink. Water's fine, or herbal tea, but nothing with any food value. So if that's going to be a challenge, they do also work before you train. They do enhance that whole cycle, if you like. So you simply take the same, about 20 minutes before you train, don't eat for 2.5 hours before that. A lot of people train in the morning, so haven't eaten. So that makes it super easy.
I always train in the morning. I can't do it in the evening. I used to when I was in an office job and stuff, because obviously you'd have to be at work for 8 o'clock in the morning, whereas being freelance a bit more flexible. But after a day of everything else, the idea of going to the gym in the evening is
it works for some. It's horses for courses, as they say. I always get asked when's the best time to train, and honestly, the only answer I can ever give is whenever it feels best for you.
When you can fit it in.
Yeah, because clients, and I try and discourage them from doing this, where they'd get up, they'd be starting a program and they'd be really all the go. So normally they might say get up for 7 o'clock. They suddenly would start getting up for 6 o'clock. Now, it's not that I'm against people doing that, but that's an extra hour onto what could be a very long day. And after 2 to 3 weeks of that, they could be getting quite tired. You have to adjust the evening to match it. So I usually try and encourage people just fit it in where it flows. So personally, I train at 2 in the afternoon. That's my favorite time, because I've clients. Yeah, I have clients in the morning, and I love it. And I often sometimes have clients in the evening too. And the 2 in the afternoon works incredibly well because you get a reboot. You kind of get going for the next for the next section of the day. So it's whatever really works. Um, Back to the last hack then. So we were just talking about supplements. So the supplements, it's AminoSlim and that protein shake. I think that combination is brilliant. I really think it's brilliant. I was just going to
There is a question
yeah,
there. Does the training have to be HIIT, or does yoga, Pilates, can that work?
that's exactly what my question. Somebody is psychic out there. You literally just asked the question I was just about to answer.
Okay.
I divide training up into three, just very briefly, into three loose spectrums. And I'm not saying this is perfectly scientific. It just works for my brain. I have what I would consider the more restorative types of training. And by that, I'd mean walking in nature, the more relaxing, calmer versions of yoga, the calmer versions of Pilates, the calmer if you're swimming, and it just helps you go, ha, a gentle run that just almost brings cortisol levels down, gets the circulation moving, gets you feeling, quite frankly, calmer. They're always good. Wouldn't knock them at all. Always good. Then we're looking at the slightly more intense version. So you've got high intensity training, and within that will be short high intensity training. Now, high intensity training has been shown to really target hormones, particularly like insulin and the likes, and really sort of target belly fat. So sprinters will have incredible abs where a marathon runner may not. So the high intensity is particularly good for belly fat. Now, my only proviso on that is if so, you can get a Pilates that's really intense because the terminology changes, but the exercise doesn't always change that much. 30 years ago, we called it aerobics and aerobic classes. Now we call it high intensity training classes in some cases. So if it's intense, if you're getting out of breath, if you feel like you're pushing yourself, that for me is good enough to call it reasonably high
It
intensity.
doesn't
Reasonably.
actually have to be a proper full-on HIIT class then.
Exactly. If it's like tennis could be considered a version of high intensity interval training because you're sprinting, then you slow down for a bit, then you sprint again, then you slow down. So a game of tennis, a game of football is a version of high intensity interval
What
training.
about something like body pump? You know, if you do a class,
Again,
a 45-minute body
if,
pump.
if if you're kind of getting into it, if there's a few times in it where you go, right, I need a break for a second,
Yeah. And
then you're
you've
into
upped
high
your
intensity.
weights enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
high intensity.
Um, yeah,
So
I mean, spin has got to be,
yeah,
yeah. So
very much,
I'm
very
really
much.
into spin at the moment. I go through fads of like the different things that I do during the week, but
Yeah.
I'll definitely do a body pump, a spin, and I'll try and do some sort of flexibility Pilates or
Yeah.
yoga.
So
Um,
your spin would come in there nicely.
mm,
And then I jump into a third form of training, which I always think as very much really the groundwork for allowing you to do everything else better. They're functional. So weight training, now some of these can overlap. So weight training will go into functional, but you can turn weight training into high intensity training if you get really good weights and really got it. That can be high intensity.
mhm.
Pilates will be functional, but again, you could get a really intense version of Pilates that would bring
Yeah,
it
I
to
just
high.
did. I've done a couple of reformer classes of Pilates, and I'd never done it before. Oh my God,
Yeah.
like seriously, that's like, I mean, I do love a bit of yoga and Pilates, and I do it for flexibility because I'm a member of David Lloyd, not an ad. And I did the flexibility thing where you know where they kind of like you do it in, oh my God, I can't even describe what it is. Anyway, I did it, and uh, my flexibility was like 72-year-old.
Oh no.
It was a 54-year-old, but my strength and my everything else was like
Yeah.
43. So I was
I
like, oh
believe it.
yeah,
Yes.
like that. But
Yes.
flexibility, awful.
So
So
you
I
just
need to do
work it.
more.
Yes, a little bit on that. Yes. So you've got so the best form of training for this, if you're looking to get into shape between now and Christmas kind of thing, my recommendation would be the high intensity training, but short. I would try and keep the bulk of the training, if not all of the training, within about 20 minutes. Now, some 45 minutes classes, if you really consider them, they probably only have 20 minutes of actual high intensity training because there's a bit more of a stretch and an opening up and there's a bit more of a cooling and relaxing down kind of bit. But what you want is that blitz in the middle of that high intensity. You don't want to go too long in that blitz because two things happen. Well, really, it's one thing happens, but it'll look like two. Your body can go into a bit of a stress mode and it can start attacking your muscle stores to try and keep up with all of this exercise you're doing. And that will release sugars into the bloodstream. And weirdly, you can now slow down your fat loss effect. So keep it short and sweet, like a blitz. So if you're a runner, do, you know, rather than doing a 45-minute run, if you're looking for fat loss and shape, cut that right down to maybe a 12-minute interval sprints kind of thing. If you cycle, same thing. If you swim, same thing. You can go interval sprints, and that will really, you'll feel as you do it, your tummy almost tightens up. You know, you kind of actually, you can almost feel it engaging in a different way than if you're a sort of a long, steady pace. So that would be my advantage. So either version of high intensity weight training, any version of what is high intensity training for you, because so it can be called a HIIT class, but it could be spinning, it could be anything like that. But try and keep the bulk of the training within 15 to 20 minutes so that you get that maximum recovery. And believe it or not, high intensity training, I love this fact, years ago, we used to say it was up to 2 hours after a training session, your metabolism goes up. But research shows with a really high intensity training session, it could be 48 hours, your metabolism is higher.
Wow. Amazing. Okay. That's good to know. Very good to know. Definitely, definitely. Excellent. Okay. I had a question on my mind's gone. Can't remember what it was. Carry on. Sorry. Do apologize.
Carry on. It'll come back.
It will.
So the overview is this: training, keep it short and intense if you can. And any versions, if you like Pilates, you'll possibly have, because I know some Pilates classes that are intense, so I wouldn't be knocking them. But whatever version of intensity works for you. If you're a runner, switch it into interval sprints. If you're a swimmer, same thing, and so on and so forth. But try and keep it short that you get the maximum recovery time, that you don't start breaking down your own body mass and releasing sugar into your system on you. Really what you want.
And how many times a week would you say to do the 20 minutes?
For most, I find if it's proper high intensity where you feel you get to the end of it, oh God, I couldn't do more. Now, if you're really doing that, I find 3 to 4 times a week is the most people do and recover well and keep their energy up. Now, if it's not quite as intense as that, you'll probably get away with 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah.
But if you're going properly intense, 3 to 4, I find is the comfortable max.
That's probably what I do maximum a week. Yeah, definitely. We're going into classes, but then I'll have a really busy day where I'm in town and I will smash out 15,000 steps or, do a personal styling session. And so if I'm not at the gym, it's because I'm out and about doing stuff. But then equally, it's like some days, like I've been to the gym this morning and then I'll come back here and I won't move again because I'm at home working from home. And so that's not so good either, is it? You need to get those, the steps in as well.
I mean, from a health point of view, forget about the shape for the purpose of this next point. From a health point of view, if you could even just get 20 minutes of a walk in every day to get the circulation moving, get some daylight and grab all of that. From a shape point of view, I find about a good session at 20 minutes or so, 3 to 4 times a week works very well, very well. And then if you combine that with getting the carbs, the obvious breads, rice, pasta, get them out, even for just a period of time, or reduce them right down, the obvious sugars, increase the protein intake, particularly in the evening. Very briefly, I'm not going to go into this today, but I'll just give you the one line. How much protein? Try and get a minimum of 1.2, but that's minimum now. You really want more than that, of 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. And you have to Google how much protein is in everything. So salmon, for example, is 20 grams per 100 grams of salmon. The protein shake there has, depending which flavor, 24 to 27 to 28 grams, depending on the flavor.
So for example, I'm about 70 kgs. So I need...
Absolute minimum now, you'd want about 84 grams of protein. Now, that's the lower end of the scale. I think you need more than that. With the training you do, I think you should be...
If it was just eggs that I was eating, because there's about 10 eggs, isn't it?
Yeah. Eggs aren't as high in protein as people think. They've got
7 grams, are
yeah, exactly. There's about 7 grams in an egg. Exactly. So the scoop of the protein shake there is the equivalent of about 4 eggs. Well, 3.5.
Yeah, and nicer. How many grams in a piece of chicken?
If it's a breast, you've about 25 grams. If it's a low fat breast, it'll be about 25 grams. If it's a leg, it'll be slightly less. I think it's around 22
Right.
grams. It varies on the part. And again, with fish, white fish will have a bit more, like white fish and tuna, a bit more than an oily fish. But it's almost with fish and meat, if you want a really general overview, you assume between 20 to 25 grams per 100 grams. And that goes for a lot of hard cheeses too.
Right.
That's about,
Yeah.
so it's worth knowing that. So about a minimum now, 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. And if you can get most of that in the evening, that seems to work very well from the hormonal balance. It sustains you into the next day. If you do fasting, which really helps blood sugar levels, so in English, that helps the belly fat too.
Yeah.
It'll sustain you through that. If you get your first meal as a low carb, higher protein, higher fat meal, and by that, it could just be eggs and avocado. It could be a bit of smoked salmon cream cheese. It could be yogurt and nuts kind of thing. And then mind your gaps between the meals. Don't snack, don't graze.
Yeah.
Just clean gaps. If you need to eat 3 times, if you need to eat 4 times, do, but it's meals. Clean gaps between them. And if you do that, and then if you're to add in that Amino Slim before bed, honestly, do the measuring. You will notice a difference.
Put this into my evening routine, don't I? And also, probably a good time to mention my code. Now I'm your brand ambassador. I'm going to be shouting from the rooftops. We have a code for you guys, a discount code, and it's Alice12. I'm going to save the live and I'll put a caption on there with the code on there for all of the products. But Alice12, 12% discount. Is that right?
The one. That's the one. Yes.
Yay.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And then every month we're going to be doing a live like this.
Yes.
I've forgotten what we're doing for December, but I'd say this is kind of like giving people lots of ideas into how we get Christmas body ready. December, maybe how we avoid the snacks and how we just
how to sail through December,
how we get through
and enjoy it. You should enjoy
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Very much. Yes, because my background, for anyone who may not know, isn't just with Strong Nutrients. I'm a nutritionist and a trainer and used to own gyms and so on and so forth. So the long and the short is I've been spending pretty much my whole life. I mean, I was going to say my whole adult life, but actually I had a mum in particular who was fascinated with nutrition and all things supplements. So I probably spent my whole life in some shape or form playing in this industry. So there's a lot of tips we can help with, and from all aspects of health now, all aspects, as well as shape, mental health, all of that side of it. There's a lot. My background is everything from teaching yoga, as I said, to personal training, to owning the gyms, to nutrition.
Yeah. I mean, you've massively helped me. I mean, I think on and off in the 3 years. I mean, I'm terrible about putting weight back on quite. I can gain weight very easily. I can not lose weight very easily. And you've helped me lose lots of weight over the 3 years. Never known a more knowledgeable person than you, Sana. Look at that. And that is why I'm so really chuffed to be working with you like this, and really am. I think it's just such a great little collaboration, and it's gonna keep me on track. And everyone should follow Xana and Strong Nutrition as well, because you're always doing lots of like strong talks and advice and sharing facts and tips and things. And if anyone's got any further questions, just put them in the comments below and we will come back to you as well.
Yes, so any questions, and you can message either yourself, Alice, obviously, or anyone you can message Strong Nutrients direct. We'll get back to you. Yes, and we do have lots of little videos, from training videos to nutrition videos and all the rest. And any questions or topics that people might think, gosh, I really would wish that they would talk about.
Yeah.
I'm very happy. I can be asked any questions, and if I don't know the answer, I just say I don't know. So fire away at anything. Perfect.
Amazing.
I think this is the first live. I don't know why you're nervous.
I don't know. I think it's that all getting onto it, and then you know that it's going to be saved, and you're going to be that person that's going,
Yeah,
what?
you
What's
got your
going
nose
on?
right up. That's me at work every day with with I train people online. My nose is on the laptop screen. The only thing they see is my nose as I'm yelling that their shoulder has raised and that their heel is in the wrong place. Yeah, I know that one too well.
We're going to do some, aren't we? Moving forward, we were saying that we're going to do some like exercise
Mm.
tips as well. We could do
Yes,
like a live session where you like train us all, give us the
yes,
best.
we can go through all of that. We certainly
Mm.
can.
There'll be
So
so much that we can do. I mean, I'm really excited. But anyway, we could chat forever, but I feel we should close this one down and wait until the next one. And so hopefully everyone will come back and we will let you know when the next one will be, early December.
exactly. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Zana, and Strong Nutrition. And thank you everyone for watching. Now, how do I save this?
That one to you.
Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna close.
Bye
I'm gonna
bye.
close. Bye, Zana. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.